Welcome in, 11:38-ish, and I'm not tired yet. Scott Van Pelt with your Sports Center, with you till 1 o'clock Eastern Time. On the way, complete post-game reaction from players, coaches, our analysts as well. Tim Legler standing by to tell you how and where this game turned, particularly there in that third quarter with a gigantic run from Golden State. Brooks Koepka, a course record 63 in round one of the PGA Championship. The dominance there and how it was reminiscent in many ways of the guy he was playing alongside. That's Tiger Woods. And the Bruins complete the sweep. They're headed to the Stanley Cup final. Barry Melrose standing by with highlights on their clincher on the road and a stick tap to those fine fans in Raleigh. But first, the best thing I saw today, and there's really no need to get cute, is there? What we just saw, as good as it gets. Clean strip, and Portland gives so much in this effort. And there's the thin man, Kevin Durant, who won't play, by the way, games 3 or 4 in Portland, evidently. You salute the effort from the Blazers, but you've got to acknowledge the fight of the home team, the Warriors, the largest halftime comeback in the playoffs during the shot clock era. They erased a 20-point lead in the conference finals in 17. They erased a 15-point lead in this one. And again, that lead had swelled to 17 in the third. And this is where I'm supposed to give a coherent thought about what we just witnessed. The old zigzag. You expect Portland to be better in this game and make some changes. They do. They established that significant double-digit lead. You expect the avalanche from Golden State because you know it's coming. And then it does. And somehow Portland is able to absorb all those punches and not get knocked out, even as they surrender the lead and fall behind by 5 in the third. They build as much as an 8-point lead in the fourth, but we just showed you the key sequences down the stretch that enable Golden State to hold home court and go up to Portland for games 3 and 4, having established the 2-0 lead with Kevin Durant, as I just mentioned, presumably on the bench for the foreseeable future, at least it would appear, games 3 and 4. Tim Legler is standing by alongside, and a lot to absorb here. Boy, there was some key sequences, obviously, in the fourth that we just showed. But if we rewind the tape to the third, where Portland has established a lead, and then in a blink, it's gone, what happens?
Yeah, I knew that the end of the game was going to get a lot of attention. So without what happened in the third quarter, that's not even possible for Golden State to make the run because they weren't very good defensively and certainly got nothing going in transition in the first half. But take a look at how things changed now in the third quarter. And it was just defensive pressure and activity. It's a really nice tight curl here. You see really good screen contact on contact, but I want you to focus on Jordan Bell, not a guy that's going to typically stand out in a box score. But I love this. Not only, Scott, does he come and close, he closes then with high hands. And that's so important because this ball is going to end up hitting his hand and going up in the air and getting deflected. Great job right there. And what does that lead to? Leads to this. And they didn't get any of that. 2 fast break points in the first half. You see the dilemma right here defensively. You start off running with Clay, and you realize pretty quickly somebody's got to stop this dude because he could pull from the circle right there. But as a result, that means Klay Thompson is running to this spot, and he did not get a whole lot of this in the first half. So here they go. One of their runs. They finally take the lead after being down 17 points. Here's another one. Great activity here on the drive by Lillard. This is what you're talking about defensively when you talk about playing the edge. You play the edge to jam him up, to make Lillard understand there's nothing there, but then it's the retreat to make sure that you get your hands on the basketball in the low pass and then stay with it. Great pursuit. Jordan Bell gets the steal, run out, watch when he gets it back. What do I call these all the time? Chaos plays. Nobody damages you more than the Golden State Warriors in the history of this league on chaos plays. You got 4 Blazers down here scrambling, and actually it's a pretty good job by Seth Curry. He recognizes there's one dude I can't see, and it's Klay Thompson. He actually runs out, but for a shooter, I don't care if that's hand on hand. When he just hit one, that's as good as a layup for Klay Thompson. To me, biggest run of the game. Then they crash the boards, offensive rebound, kick it out. McKinney hits the 3. So you see the frenetic energy that Golden State played with to turn this game. I thought they came out a little bit casual. Give Portland credit. They thoroughly outplayed them in the first half. But once they picked up the heat defensively, it put them in a position where then they could make the game-saving plays at the end with Steph, Clay, and role players chipped in a big way in the last 3 minutes.
I want to welcome Doris Burke. And Doris, this is a league of runs, and as that enormous lead was established, you have to anticipate that the Golden State run is coming. Portland is able to absorb it and then build that lead back to 8. What that you observed afforded Golden State the ability to erase it and ultimately come out on top? What were the key moments in your opinion?
You know what, Scott? Greg Popovich has a saying that he loves to use, and it's act like you've been there before. And I thought in that closing sequence, that 14-3 run, it was all over the floor that Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala and their history and the fact that this group collectively has been in every conceivable circumstance in the playoffs that came to bear. And I wonder about the long-term fatigue of Damian Lillard. He has talked about how physically and mentally exhausting it is to have so much defensive attention sent his way. They came out of the gates in the third quarter. I don't think they were anticipating that incredible run by Golden State. And listen, this is part of learning how to win in this circumstance. Golden State had it. I thought Portland did not.
And this stage is new to this group for Portland. And I'm with you. As I'm watching Dame play, Doris, I think he doesn't look right. And yet he finds that gear, doesn't he? He's able to score 20-some out after a very slow start. And so I felt like I saw something that resembled Lillard. And in the end, it's plays are made. And Iguodala had the guts to take the play on, and he made it. But I do feel like we at least got a glimpse of Dame, didn't we?
We certainly did, and there were two things said by Jeff and Mark that I absolutely loved. One, he's the best leader. He might be the best leader in the NBA. And two, there's no drama with Damian Lillard. And it sets the tone for the rest of the group. Make no mistake, I know they're down 2-0. They will not fold. They will compete. They need to extend the time at which they don't turn the basketball over. It's absolute death. I know the trapping at the half-court line was significant and made an impact. But these guys will not. They'll bend, but they won't break. They just may not have enough. We'll see.
Doris, thank you so much. Appreciate the time as always.
Thanks, Scott.
All right, Tim, I come back to you on the idea of what we're talking about with Portland in this case. You expend so much effort and energy, and you ultimately leave down 2-0. This is not a moral victory situation. I just wonder what positives about the way they played the game, the way they defended, what they did, particularly with Durant on the bench for the foreseeable future. What can they take with them home that they can say, look, back there, we can turn a good game into a win?
For I'd say 40 out of the 48 minutes in this game, the defensive effort was exactly what it needs to be against this team. They gave them the level of priority that they need to with those two shooters without Durant on the floor. So that's what you take from it. Now, as far as like being demoralized, one good thing is in this situation, if you're going to drop a game like this, good thing to change venues. So now you get to go home and recharge. If they drop game one in this fashion, you got to come right back to Oracle 2 days later and play them again. It might be a different story. Change of venues gives them a lot of adrenaline. They've been great in that building all year, but there's no doubt. You watch the film, you're going to see an awful lot of good that came out of this. You just have to manage the critical moments better. When you play a team like Golden State, we know this. The margin for error is so slim against that team. They will capitalize if you do not.
And then one thought on Golden State as they change venues as well. Doris alludes to it. Look, they've seen it all. They've been through it all collectively, whether Durant's playing or not. They've been to Portland. They know the venue. They know what they're in store for. What will Kerr take from this night, outside of the spirit and the fight that got him the win, that he can say that's good enough? And what will he point to and say this isn't good enough?
Well, clearly, and he said it even in his interview, that this was not good enough effort in the first half. They didn't play hard enough. They didn't take this seriously enough that this team was going to come out and compete. So that's what you focus on if you want them to pick it up. The good thing about this, if you go back and look at the last 4 or 5 minutes of that game, there's fingerprints all over it from other guys not named Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That's what this team is all about. The greatness of those two players occupying guys to allow Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, and Kevon Looney to go make those plays to beat you with all kinds of space. That's what you focus on if you're Steve Kerr. It's a championship team. It's not about the stars. It's about their style of play and role players coming up big in big moments. And I hate to call Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green role players. They're more than that, clearly. But when you have Steph and Klay at times, you do take on a role. And did they burn Portland every time they got an opportunity in those last few minutes to make buckets and convert.
Iguodala, incidentally, will be stopping by the show. He's probably going to want to talk about the PGA Championship. The man loves golf. We'll afford him that opportunity. We will ask him some questions about this game. Tim, appreciate it very much. You see the most 30-point games in the playoffs, and LeBron James, given the lengthy runs he has made throughout his career, obviously this year being an outlier, he's into 110 of those. Wow. Kevin Durant at 62. Steph Curry adds to his with his 35th tonight. Steve Kerr live at the podium after the Warriors erase a big deficit and come out on the right side of a 3-point win.
Name and affiliation, please. Let's start with Kerry here, second row.
Kerry Eggers, Portland Tribune. Steve, do you feel like you dodged a bullet there tonight?
Oh, totally. We stole that game. I thought they outplayed us for much of the night, the majority of the night. But we brought enough competitive fire in the second half to overcome, their great play. And we've been here before. I think our experience helped us. We've done this a few times, and yeah, we stole it for sure. They outplayed us.
C.J. Peterson, San Francisco Examiner. Steve, that third quarter was a real turning point in this game. 2 years ago, you guys led the league in third quarter differential. You guys outscored your opponents by almost 5.5 points. Did it kind of bring you back to that season, the 2016-17 year, and how big was that third quarter, like I said, in your mind?
I was actually thinking of the 2013 year when that was happening. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't thinking about any other thing but tonight's game. This was, if you've been watching the NBA for a while or part of it, game twos scare you. If game one goes smoothly, game two is terrifying because human nature sets in. And I thought that was the case tonight. And they have 2 days to stew on the first game and make their adjustments. And so that's, that's something we knew was coming, but human nature doesn't allow you to bring the same level of fear and appropriate fear and respect and the edge that you need. And we didn't find that until the third quarter. And, we were down, I guess, 16 at half or 15. But the NBA game is a long, long game. There's so many possessions. And with our team, we always feel like we have a chance. And we kept playing, and our guys got it done. They were amazing in that third quarter and then down the stretch as well.
Standing up here, left-hand side.
Logan Murdoch, NBC Sports Bay Area. Steve, you guys were down right here. You guys were down 8 with, I think, 4 minutes left, and Draymond kind of got it going. He got a block. He got a few assists. How would you describe his play down the stretch?
Draymond. Tremendous. He was in some foul trouble tonight, and I thought our bench really did a good job of keeping us in the game and allowing us to keep Draymond on the bench, late third, early fourth. We bought him some time, and then he came back in, I guess, around the 8-minute mark. And his defensive play down the stretch, Andre's play at the end there, just fantastic stuff. And that's what it takes in the playoffs. You have to have multiple guys playing at a really high level, and obviously Steph was brilliant tonight. Looney was brilliant, and we got the defensive effort that we needed down the stretch.
Front row.
After outscoring Portland by 15 points in the third, 39-24, the key sequence there, that finishing kick that Steve Kerr was just describing there. Final 4:20, a 14-3 run, that erases the 8-point deficit.